This is an article in the Reddit forum. It's about links to Epstein to Russia and the Russian mafia. Let me just...
We know the Joint Chiefs of Staff wanted to blow up airliners, Baltimore Sun, or if you let some terrorist group do it, like the World Trade Center, we know who to blame. And if there was an outside threat like a bin Laden who was a known CIA asset in the 80s, he's the boogeyman they need.
I feel this is telling us that what I've always had in the back of my mind, that Epstein knew something about the World Trade Center. It was bought by Russia on July of 2001. It's saying here that he had office space. Hang on, sorry, where did I see that? Former Russian Dupert Konstantin Bavaria in 1999 knew that they were behind Russia's apartments bombing, but were told to blame Al-Qaeda and that an attack on the US was coming next. This was a close cooperation of Russian special services with Osama bin Laden. And with the poster here, I kind of think Israel is sort of a proxy for Russia to get into the West, or to help drag them into the wars. Pretty sure some arseholes from the CIA wanted this to happen. I've also been looking into Vladimir Kruklikov, head of the KGB, introduced Maxwell to Mogilevich, so that man needs to be investigated as well. Oh, forbidden. Okay. This researcher about that says on the Epstein also, we're finding a lot of things out like right now. As I have been documenting for years now, all my accounts, there is both national crisis, child crisis, and within that, the crisis of America federal state employees engaged in this. You can see what I'm talking about. And what appears to be an epidemic of number of men downloading child often, and they're often in work computers such as the Pentagon, the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice. I'm going to look into these documents, what she's got. Salanta Lamar Alexander, RTN Chief of Staff Brian Loscan was arrested last year for trading in the R&T of children, aka child content. Context to the story. The media reported Loscan's arrest and subsequent suicide pending trial as if it were a one-off event. as if no other high-level government employees were being arrested for child charges. So I suppose I should be thrilled to see that both Paul Farrell and breaking news editor for Heavy and Shane Harris, senior intelligence national security correspondent for the Daily Beast, wow, and New America Foundation fellow, tried to provide context to the State Department's Director for Counterterrorism, Daniel Rosson's arrest. These convictions are going back to 2015, but it gives you an idea that this has been going around a lot longer. Former cybersecurity chief convicted in the child thing. Former federal security chief was convicted Tuesday on several charges related to the access and distribution of child. Timothy DeFoggy, 56, was acting director of chief security of U.S. Department of Health and Human Services when he was detained in May 2013 as part of his investigation into targeting free child sites. Now, I can't get most of these stories up, believe it or not, I'm not surprised, but I'll read on what's here. Says also, NCMEC says 1.8 billion images of children are shared online every day. An estimate of 1.2 million children are trafficked globally every year. In 2013, Germany estimated some 250,000 Germans spent $27 million on child, 27 billion in just 1 year, by 250,000 people, which is very highly disturbing to me. In 2012, paedophiles in Greece were given legal disability status. The National Confederation of Disabled People says this are now awarded a higher government disability pay than other people who have received organ transplants. This is how sick the world has got. According to Chad Steele, a forensic investigator at George Mason University, it is not atypical to have a single case that involves terabytes of data and over 1 million images and movies. 1 terabyte fits into about 1,428 CD-ROMs, holding some 3.6 million images or 300 video hours. First proliferation online advice forums has been made even lower levels offenders better informed on how to protect themselves. 5. Pet protection each other. They provide advice on how to groom, access to and drug children. You know, we've seen that. We've seen that, like, these groups exist. And they're brazen about it as well, you know, she's right, you know. In 2017, the Canadian Centre for Child Protection released a study documenting that more than half of child survivors were abused, starting between birth and 4 years old. Oh my gosh. By a parent. Seriously. Over half also reported being shared with others. 9 most produced in North America and Europe. 5 children. 10 children in North America, and I don't know, most often fathers. They join online networks, must first prove they are who they are. To do this, they are required to offer image of a child to other group members. This serves as both an entry fee and a verification code. Anyone viewing that, therefore, is also in the nature of these gatekeeping strategies and distributing child. To have child, to share, a child must be context abused, and production of the related content. This problem factors in assessing children results. So they're assessing children, cultivating personalities that appear to be extremely child-friendly. These people must be likable to spouses, parents, neighbours, teachers, children. A person like this is not someone you look at and fear for your children's safety. A person like this is someone you're willingly leaving your child with because this is a person you trust, and they make you trust them. I've never been in this situation, but people trust the most strangest people. I mean, but yeah, seeing if there's any more links about the government. Oh wow, yeah. Press release, foster care investigation findings, 13-month probe into the safety of foster children. This is another one for me, I just wish a lot more was there to protect. Seems to be a heavy amount of neglect of children. This was on 2024. Foster care investigation finds 410 children reported missing from DFCS care in 5-year period were likely victims of trafficking. We know that we have an urgent issue with children feel better on the streets or with a trafficker than they do in their foster care placements. Today, the National Centre of Missing and Exploited Children testified that according to their independent analysis, 410 children who were reported missing from care in Georgia were identified by the NCMEC is likely to be victims of trafficking between 2018 and 2022. Received over 2,400 reports of children missing in Georgia. 1,790 children, many of whom went missing several times throughout the year. 410 of these were identified as likely victims of trafficking by the Recovery Service. Trends show that when children run away frequently or for long periods of time, they tend to be running from an unsafe situation or to an unsafe situation. We know we have an urgent issue when children feel better on the streets or with a trafficker than they do in their foster placements. It's very true. It's scary, really. Lady goes on to explain, well, that is because you'd need to research what I said. It takes a long time. It's not fast Google. I've been fighting this issue for my 7 years, I know. In 1996, Clinton rushed everyone from both sides down to Camp David to sign Title IVE, which connects the AFSA, America Safe Family Act. ICPC states the ones that have the children pipeline and safe haven laws. It is signed in 1997, right when Epstein brings his ranch project and incentivized adopting for social workers for financial gain, literal human trafficking. You know, donated money to these places and all the rest of it, right? There's proof of that. By the time the system is fully integrated, early 2000, Epstein is setting up the Zorro Ranch safe haven laws are especially favourable to him in New Mexico. Wow, okay. They allow up to 90 days of no questions baby drop-offs at any hospital, police station or fire departments, which is blatantly not in the idea of child welfare, as the child doesn't even have a medical history. Someone hands over a baby and walks away. This gives Epstein a way to send out his genetics unseen. The mother doesn't even have to do the drop-off. Anyone can claim the mother gave them permission. The laws being so generous also allows him to do what he or his friends want with a baby before handing them over. If you need more, please Google for more. But I think, yeah, she's done really well explaining this. Amazing. Well done. Thank you. It's really insightful what people know, you know. They're really smart on Reddit, you know. I like Reddit. It's our ranch from aerial view. The ground is changing a lot though. And what's that about? It's very strange. I appreciate who did this. Because there is something very, very peculiar how the ground is. I do feel when I look at that ranch, I always think of the CIA. I don't know why. Experiments and things like this. And that's why it makes sense that Epstein was what he was. I think he worked for so many things, you know. And the land, the way it's built, look, definitely something gone on there, you know. So changed in time, look at that. These are other areas, you know, of this place where, like, why would they need an exterminator like that? Like a sort of deep, oh, just makes your mind boggle, you know. Like, I don't know what that is, but it doesn't look like a water system or anything. It looks like an actually decomposter, if you know what I mean. Why would you want to decompost anything in the desert? It's interesting. I like this stuff. I like to have a look and go down a rabbit hole, you know. Here's Jeffrey's first trafficker in Brooklyn, Terry Kafka, I think his name is. And is one note that's been found. On my boat, we plodded up girls on the beach, went out on the boat. I tell them with a knife in my hand to take off suits, but Warren tells, don't worry, his name is Jan. He's just joking. He live at 50-50. I tell Mark to throw him into the water. He did. I was poking some girls in bed, and Jeff brings in the maid to make the bed. She left screaming, never come back. We're both in bed poking some girls. I said, what do you think, while he's shoving penicillin down my throat. I went a whole day without speaking English. Jeff told everybody I was raised on a boat in Brazil. When I come out of the bathroom, brushing my teeth, and spit the foam out my mouth on the floor, Jeff says that's how they do it in Brazil. What the fuck? Weirdos. Concord Hotel. Jewish singles weekend. Sit us down to the table with ugly girls, and I told them I don't have any pretty ones. We get in the room. Jack says, don't touch my hair, you dumb. Water right on his head. Then we set the room on fire. Wow, throwing food in the dining room. No one would serve us, so they put us by the kitchen, gave us our money back and told us to leave, never to come back. This is his behaviour, you know. Two very young girls, probably just 17, and were riding in my father's caddy, Park Avenue, top down, smooching it up in the car, drop dead laughing, start off to get the speeding tickets. You're with blank, and her mother's looking at me like I'm a box of candy. Wow. Shoving food the whole time down my mouth. The boat ride in blank, birthday present boat. The rabbi's daughter. Jeff would call the house rabbi's what? Rabbi what? Weiss. And say this is blank's father. I will bring her up to your mother's house and make her take her top off so we could touch her. Her and her would play together with toys. Ew. Look at him there. I think that's his friend there in the middle. And the rest of the paedophile friends. This is another relationship he had with a very, very, very young girl. A strange relationship with Uncle F. Selena Dubin asked Epstein to buy her maxi shirts that could wear when she go out for the night. In 2011, while in Paris, Epstein agreed to buy sexy clothes for Selena. What clothes would you like in Paris? anything. You know what I like. I also need some cool but also flattering and somewhat sexy shirts that I can wear when I go out. 100% Epstein used the connections to help Selena pursue modelling and later admission to medical school. Do you think I should do another photo shoot soon? Should I get in touch with Jean-Luc and Faith Cates? Whatever you want, Jean-Luc better, Selena. Should I email him? What's his email? Epstein in 2012 contacted Jean-Luc Bernal to arrange fashion shoot for Selena when she was 17 years of age. Glad to see you are doing well, Selena, a fashion shoot. Very weird. This last one I'll finish on the Rothschild connection to Epstein. Jeffrey said that he had given Lynn Foster de Rothschild financial help in 1990s during her divorce from Andrew Stein, although a spokesperson for Rothschild said this was 100% false. According to Epstein's lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, he was introduced to Epstein by Rothschild, who referred to. He's been given the coat of arms of the Rothschild family in 2013. They were close until 2019, his death. Annabella Nelson, formerly Rothschild, was identified as having emailed Epstein numerous times between 2010 and 12, and after 2008 conviction soliciting, Nelson agreed to put together a group of girls for Epstein and noted that some were unfortunately past their sell-by date. Another email from redacted sender to an account named Annabella Nelson on 21st. Never mind, I don't know. Scheduled documents show that Ariane Rothschild had more than a dozen meetings with Epstein. From 2013 to 2019, she bought nearly $1 million worth of auction items on Epstein's behalf in 2014 and 2015, and in 2015 and October negotiated a $25 million deal contract for Epstein's Southern Trust to provide risk analysis service to the bank. And in 2019, Epstein's arrest, the bank initially stated that the Rothschild never met Epstein and the bank had no business links with him. Blatant lies, really, when you see the emails themselves. Epstein was acquaintances or friends with public figures including Trump, Clinton, Robert Kennedy, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and Sergey Brin, and Noam Chomsky and Stephen Bannon, Ehud Barak and Richard Branson and Leon Black, former Prince Andrew, Bill Gates, Mette Marat, Crown Prince of Norway, and many others. Epstein files. Blah, 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 blah. As I look through this, I realise there's a lot of things with Epstein, especially with 9/11. We'll get to that possibly the next time. I don't know if I covered it, but it's an important topic. I think there's a lot more out there that hasn't been covered yet, and I'd wish to gather that as much as possible. The connections, the families, the people around this topic. Yeah, that's all for today, and please come back and subscribe, and please leave a lovely comment. I love talking, and I love the comments I'm getting. I always get some great comments and feedback, and love everybody's feedback because it gives me an insight of what I haven't thought about before either. So yeah, please come back again and take care.